Back to working on the Jeep. Orders of business. Oh, by the way, yeah, we do have a lift, and no, it's not cosmetic. We are actually able to use it now. It actually works, finally. It's a working lift. Okay, now it's a functional lift.
But you did have it. You had it.
One of the biggest things that we gotta do is we gotta get this exhaust finished up. Now, this was out of the parts Jeep, which, by the way, is about decimated. Pretty much have everything we need. The only thing is probably the windshield. It'd be kind of nice to have a spare windshield. Currently straight piped, so an exhaust is a super essential part of what we need. And then the other thing that's important is we start getting a floor put in here. And we got a little bit of metal here. I'm not quite sure it's gonna be enough. Levi picked up a bead roller, so I'm gonna try and make a pretty snazzy floor. I gotta get the yoke for the other axle because we're gonna throw that Chrysler 8 1/4 back on here. But we got a few new parts to put on the Jeep today. But even though I don't plan on this axle stage lasting super long, it's definitely gonna last a little bit of time. So I did pick up a Spartan front lunchbox locker. I feel like that's the best choice just because I didn't want to weld it because I didn't want it to be on all the time. I also wanted that crazy reliability. I wanted something reliable and I wanted something cheap, so went with this. So we're gonna throw this in, and then the other thing we got, so I splurged a little bit. You guys see it? I wouldn't have prioritized the winch so early in the build, but we literally only wheel alone, so I figured it was worth it. I'm actually gonna feel bad having this on that Jeep, dude. It's so nice. We got the diff opened up. The lunchbox locker is just gonna replace the spider gears inside the carrier, and then it just, I believe it's literally like a ratcheting mechanism basically, right, Levi?
I have no idea how a Spartan locker works.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's just like a ratcheting system, so.
Sorry to flex, but I've got two hands right now. Boom. Captured.
So getting that in there is a chore, but it will go.
Oh. Well, you should have embossed it with your bead roller. Yeah, we got the unit in, and as you can see, no more spider gears. In Minnesota fashion, when you take something apart, you usually have to replace half the things you put on. So we're now waiting on a wheel bearing, which is sick. But look at what we got mocked up here. Levi's doing some beautiful welds. Look at those beautiful porous dimes.
The other side looks better, I think.
Dang. Is it cool because it's porous? Like, are they supposed to be porous?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's gonna hold though.
It looks good. Probably chop it like right here.
So I don't get, yeah, see you back in.
So I don't lose my D part, you know. Oh yeah, that's so much quieter. What the? All right, we're gonna do our first bit of testing here. With no power going to the drive shaft, it's ratcheting there. Now, apparently these are supposed to quiet down quite a bit. Once you put some miles on them, it's pretty loud right now. Now, Levi, hop out under there and twist the drive shaft. So with the drive shaft twisting, keeps them locked up. No binding or anything. All right, we finally found a spot where you can be proven that we got a locker. Center console. We're gonna start on this project of reflooring and then reframing. As you can see, it needs a lot of that.
There's holes in the floor everywhere. I'm gonna patch up where the gas tank fill neck used to be, get a little bit of strength there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure. There's definitely some bracing that needs to just happen everywhere just to make things stronger.
So this is what we got going on in the back, and then it continues worse on this side for some reason. Some of these holes are not rust holes. Actually, I think it's just that one. That one's from the drive shaft. And then in the front here, this is a massive focus area because you actually get a lot of heat radiating off the exhaust from these floors being gone. It's also nice to have somewhere to put your feet. Well, Levi's gonna be planning on that. He's gonna work hard. He's gonna be a big floor panel guy. Gonna start restoring all kinds of 50s and 60s and 70s cars, and he's gonna become a boomer.
I better get tetanus at least once.
Whoa.
But yeah, this is looking like a floor, kind of.
Okay, just like that, Jeep's got a floor. Bump that floor a little bit, show them the... Yeah, so that thing's a little on the rigid side. Both the floors on the driver and passenger side are done. Finally, no more open exhaust into the cab, so it should cool off quite a bit in here. But still to be done is everything in the rear, and as you can see, there's quite a bit, but we're gonna take a little bit of a break from doing floor work and do some more off-road upgrades again, because be quite honest, I miss driving this thing. But we also need to solve another issue. Basically, we just have metal sheeting in between us and everything that is hot in there. So what we're gonna do might involve a little bit of this heat shield stuff from other vehicles, might involve some exhaust tape and stuff like that, but we're gonna go ahead and warm this thing up and see how it performs. Oh yeah. We got a pretty warm floor right there. That is 118 degrees, 120, 23. Gets a little warmer the farther back you go, it looks like. 130. Oh yeah, we're getting all the way up to 100, 150, 160. Going up the transmission tunnel, it's a little cooler. We're gonna have to try and get that temperature down. Ultimately, what I'm gonna put on here is bed liner, and you don't need to prime, supposedly, for that bed liner that I got, but I'm gonna hit these seams anyway, because then I'm gonna throw seam sealer on there. We're gonna start seam sealing this thing. I wanna do nice, pretty beads, but we might have to spread around in there to get it in the cracks. Yeah, I think we're gonna end up spreading this.
Gee, we collected a lot of weight just now.
I know.
This thing is the International Harvester.
This Jeep is the breadbasket of America. God. No! It looks sick.
It looks.
Alright, we got the seam sealer on, kinda. This is the bed liner I decided to go with, so Rust-Oleum. Shout out Rust-Oleum. I'm a little nervous, but we got the turbo spray here, and everything is properly taped off and secured, so this should go well.
This is good. Dude, it is Vanta Black. Oh, the center console got it bad.
That is literally sick.
It's
accented. Welcome to Under the Jeep. We're about to tackle this heat problem. Levi wants me to clarify that this is my idea, not his. But I wanted to clarify it's my idea because I think it's really genius. Not a whole lot of space between the floor and the Zaza. So what we're gonna do here,
what
I decided was a good idea to do,
to affix the bottom straight parts of this C-clamp, exhaust clamp, to the frame rail, just a cross member.
Cross member, yeah.
And then just run nuts on the U-bolt section
because
in order to suck it down.
Here's the thing, this is actually OEM because what we did, well, what Levi did, he actually tucked the muffler and the rest of the exhaust very high up, which is awesome because it gives us a ton more clearance. Like if you compare this to stock, which we did the other day, this is actually insane. We gained so much clearance. The problem though is now there's practically zero gap between the floor that Levi probably just oversized, but there's zero gap between there, but there's a lot of gap between the cross member. So what we're effectively achieving here, as you can see, we're achieving a gap. You can see that there's a major gap being allowed there through this genius idea. All right, look at that, we got a gap. All right, time for the task of putting the seam sealer on the bottom, and this is a job I'm not looking forward to. I'm not really proud of this, but it's time to put a little bit of faith in this bad boy, and hopefully it will do a better job at keeping rust out than the seam sealer. All right, taking a look at the finished product here. She's all drying up. As you can see, looks pretty good. Next task is we're gonna start by throwing this bad boy on the exhaust here. All right, Dr. Two Hands is laying her on for me. Just been informed that this stuff doesn't last forever, which I kind of expected, but I mean, all right, look at that. It ain't a build until it's heat wrapped. I bought a nice little sheet of this heat shield insulation stuff, so you're gonna try and shove some of that up on these flat surfaces. All right, shout out Wendigoon. But I got this stuff plopped in there, kind of tucked up in the trans tunnel area. So we're hoping that's gonna work out a lot better. Moment of truth, what do we got? Well, she's still warm. Gets hotter up here. Pretty comparable on the trans tunnel, but on the floor, hey, we knocked that down. I want to say it was getting as hot as 160. All right, it is bug night out. Super buggy in the shop, and back to working on the Jeep. This is the axle that we actually stole off the other Jeep, and we put it on here because we did not have a yoke. Well, this axle ain't exactly stronger than that axle, so the OEM axle is actually going back on. All right, just like that, the 8.25 is back in. Now all that's left to do is to Miller lock this thing. Finally getting into some fabrication work on the Jeep. Levi's deploying the Harbor Freight 12-ton hydraulic pipe bender. He's just cooked up some pristine bends on here, and he's gonna be throwing this together. Look at the technique, look at the form. The master at work right now. Guys, you don't get to see this every day. Yeah. All right, so this is the first time the slider's in one piece. It's looking pretty freaking snazzy. Tell him your thoughts, Levi.
I think I did an amazing job. I mean, look at this growly. Ooh.
All right, first slider's all finished welded up. So we're gonna hit her with the flavor of the day, some primer, and then I'm gonna go straight on to the color reveal. I think it's gonna look pretty sick. All right, here's what we got. Let's see how she looks. Ooh, that's a lot more bronze than I was expecting. Like brownie kind of. See how it looks when it's done. I don't know. So when we're looking at this cap right here, this is the color I was trying to find. So basically it's this anodized bronze from Rust-Oleum, and it looks kind of like a deep gray with a little flake almost, maybe, you know, like a little gray with flavor. However, in practice, get on close on this one. It looks a little purple and a little bit of brown, like a brown purple. This is like the first time with Rust-Oleum I've had the cap look significantly different than the finish. It might not look different on camera, but in person, and Levi can attest, although he is colorfully challenged, he can attest that. What are your thoughts on this color?
I don't know.
It's got like the bare metal look with like pizzazz, and that's what I was kind of hoping like for the color. But this is just purple, guys. It's freaking purple. I know you can't see it on camera, okay? It looks brown up close. It looks purple from afar. It looks tweaked out. It looks tweaked out, dude.
Let me see it.
Well, this far away, it looks fine. I mean, you can't really say anything from this far away. Guys, I'm scrapping it. We're finding a new color. I'm cutting my losses here. What do you think? What do you think? What do you see? What do you see? Tell me what you see. Cat POV right here. What do you think? He's pissed. All right, guys. We played it safe. Went back to the store. Picked up a different color, charcoal gray this time. I'm just gonna have to be happy with it. I wish I could have found one that's a little darker. It's been a fat minute since we've done a Jeep update. Levi has been hard at work fabricating. So as you can see, the rig's got a freaking bumper now. We got the comp fold.
Comp fold has been dead.
Oh, I see you cocked up the corners too.
I did that. I what the corners? Oh yeah, I bead sealed it up. Just using the factory bumper mounts.
Picked up some more sheet metal. The reason I want to put sheet metal on here, and it's gonna be like, is because I don't like the transparency where you can see this very unfinished look. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and have steel plating on there. Already he pulled off the front bumper, and what we got here, this actually, when we bought the parts Jeep, this was just thrown in the back of there because he's actually gonna incorporate this into the build, which is super awesome. Today, we're gonna take a little bit of a break and we're gonna thrash the Jeep around a little bit because it has been a fat minute and we got a pretty sweet opportunity to rip in the field. So also, we got some new tires to put on here. And so we got to do the right thing and get rid of these.
Give her a fat bump and nothing should break, right? Except the transmission and the transfer case, because they're gonna get hit. Hey, nice. I'm sure the sliders did their job a little bit there.
I've seen other 4-liters hit limiter, but the XJ always shifts. It always upshifts. I don't know why. This is the finished product on the bumper here. I'm pretty stoked on it. We got the plates on there now, all the plating. But here's the centerpiece right here. This is the centerpiece. Finally time to unveil the colored finished bumper. So we've driven the Jeep a little bit with the finished bumper, finished product on it. But she fits pretty nice. She looks good. Nice. However, we do have a little bit of an issue with these guys up here. What? These guys up here. As you can see, popped up and broke the taillight. Levi, come show what you got done so far.
So I started off with kind of a, you can see it's kind of Frankenstein together. This was attached to here, was attached to here. And then the same thing on the other side. It was just kind of this pre-made, prefabbed bumper.
Right.
That only stuck out to like about here. And we needed to fit a winch. And
yeah, and it was flat. It wasn't modified.
So
it's completely flat.
The winch is supposed to mount in here and shoot out, right? Our winch isn't really good for that.
Unfortunately, hindsight 2020, This winch requires it to be at a certain angle, and I can't modify where the lever is, and the lever is kind of annoying. Originally, I did want the bumper to be flush, and I wanted the winch to be underneath. But with the positioning of the lever, I was just kind of like, I'd rather have the lever be up here. I don't really want to be elbowing, especially once we have a skid plate. It's not going to work. We had to make the decision to kind of make a more protruding bumper, which is a little unfortunate. Lose a little bit of
approach angle as possible. And when you put the winch in there, the lever is literally like
it's literally
right there, and it's to the face of the bumper too. So.
Also, fenders are chopped. They're getting ready for the tube work. Tube work's going to come in pretty hot. You guys can see from how the rear looks. Levi's gonna get a little crazy with it. So, but this is kind of where we're at. All right, and here we are. Tube work is done. So, final product here. Tube goes out to the bumper, or to the side fenders. Nice little bevel to match the fender line there. We got a curve out, cross member underneath, and a triangulated member below. You got the bull bar here, main push bar, plus the whiskers, and it's looking nice. Levi did a phenomenal job bending. I don't know if I've mentioned this anywhere else, but homie is using a Harbor Freight pipe bender, just like this. Not even using the right tools for the job, and he's cranking out results. And even just from watching the progress from the sliders, going from having the wear marks on the outside from the bender to figuring out how to not do that and having perfectly smooth outer ridges, it's just looking phenomenal. So all that's left is to finish up the skid plate on the bottom, mount the winch, and yeah. So this is kind of the final fit and finish besides the front roller. Not 100% sold on the front roller here. I think what I'd rather have is what you see on a lot of, do you know what they're called?
Something style fairly.
First off, this protrudes a lot. It's gonna get banged up really fast. And then the other thing is it's just doesn't fit the aesthetic of the rest of the bumper. But winch fitment is very good. Solenoid box fits in here, and little axis up top for the winch remote. Nice access to the clutch. This bumper was designed around the winch, so it's pretty much perfect. All painted up. She's just in the oven now. And the finished product. Boom. Unreal. This thing looks fantastic. Unbelievable. Again, we're still deciding on whether or not to keep the roller set up or to get something else. The fit and finish of this is just perfect. Super easy access to the clutch. The front clip isn't perfectly mounted right now. It's all kind of temporary. So this will sit a little farther back. And then right here is the plug-in for the controller. Boom. That has got to be one of the cleanest XJ bumpers of all time. And this dude built it, bro. He built it. That is the conclusion of this dang near year-long video. We got the front bumper finished, the dope sliders, of course, the rear bumper. It's all nice and dirty now. And then on the inside, we got the floor. What we still got to do on this thing, first and foremost, I want to get the lift. I already got some tires and wheels to put on there. My goal was to kind of do the lift for free, and by free I mean kind of a net negative. We'll see what we can do. I originally wanted to bastard lift this thing, but every now and then a Jeep will pop up with like a lift kit installed on Marketplace for really cheap, just like a trail rig like this. And you never know, if the money's right, it could be a lot better option, because yeah, ultimately, like you can put F-150 springs and shocks and do all that stuff, but you know, it would be kind of nice to have suspension that isn't designed for towing 7,000 pounds in a Jeep. The other thing that has to be done is we need to finish the the rear floors. So basically everything behind the driver's seat is unfinished, as you can see, which makes for a really terrible experience in any kind of muddy conditions on the inside here. Probably gonna paint this cage. It's still unpainted. It's kind of starting to rust, so probably gonna clean that up and get something on there. And then ultimately, I do want to be doing tree sliders up here and work into an exo cage, but that's going to be further down the line. And then obviously I have other plans in store for that, because I'm telling you, the lift and tire setup we're going to be putting on it as soon as possible is not going to be permanent. So subscribe if you guys are stoked on the build here. Trail Trash is the name. And yeah, we're gonna keep uploading videos on it. But I mean, we're at a pretty good point here. I think it's time to shoot some shakedown videos. So yeah, subscribe to keep up on the build, and we'll see y'all later.